Crumpet.
Espresso.
Crumpet.
Espresso.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. As the garlic bread warlord Nick Leafy, and it is soccer over there. It is a weird day in Serie A right now. Roma, as of this recording, I recorded this a little while ago, and I've gone back and had to delete it and start over because Roma has now crawled back within one in this game against Bologna. They are down 3-2. And they have to figure out a way to stay in this because there's something wrong with Roma right now as far as their gameplay, their game planning. You had them losing to Juve in the Coppa Italia. That was on the 22nd of January. You had them draw Lazio in the derby, which is not a terrible thing. I mean, a draw in a derby, sort of expected. Then you had them getting drilled by Sassuolo 4-2. And now they're down again, and they were down early and big in this game. But as of the 79th minute, Roma's down 3-2, so maybe they can pull something out. Keep in mind the Freaking Group taking over Roma. What will they do with the coaching staff? What kind of direction do they want to go in? This is probably going to be the most financially stable that Roma has been in a long time, even with Pilata. Even though Pilata brought a lot of resources to the table, Freaking will be able to bring more. And that's going to be the magic ticket here for Roma, especially if Freak could somehow find a way to get a stadium deal done. The stadium deal may be completely off the table. Best of luck to you. But if Roma's financially stable and they have a good summer, you may see some things from them. But right now, they seem to be definitely in flux. And guys, next week they're going against Atalanta, who we know can score goals at a clip. So it's critically important for them to try to salvage a draw out of this game. It's critical. They have to try to do that because you need some sort of confidence going into the Atalanta game. Gasparini, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to pick teams apart. Atalanta, if Roma's messing around, they will have no problem hanging 4 or 5 on you. But in the meantime, the other games that I'm going to be watching this week, you have Fiorentina versus Atalanta. That will be tomorrow at 9. It's going to be very important to see how Atalanta handles this, going into this stretch here. If they can handle Fiorentina without any sort of card issues or injuries, and then they can start knocking off, and they knock off Rome next week, they are going to be in a pretty decent position to try to get some sort of gaining of the ground here against Lazio. Because keep in mind, in the table of Serie A, you have Juve at 1. They're at 54 points. Inter at 51. So Inter's hanging out there, but they've had too many draws. They had 3 consecutive draws. That's really not helping them out that much. And they're going into their derby weekend as well with AC Milan. So it's going to be something where Milan can draw Inter. That's not a problem. And if Inter loses any ground, Lazio at 3 is only 1 point behind. They can easily jump into that second space. So there's a lot of turmoil within the top 3 of Serie A, which is a lot of fun, actually. I'm happy that this is taking place. But however, at 4 with Atalanta, they're down to 39 points. They need to start putting together wins if they want to try to get into that third spot. And could it happen? Theoretically, yes. Atalanta can hang goals up. That's not a problem. But they have to stop making stupid mistakes. So if Atalanta can put some momentum together, nothing but beneficial. Roma, meanwhile, again, they're down 3-2 at the moment. They are, and I'm saying that because I'm looking at the game, and I'm like, good God, boys, pull something out of this. They're sitting in 5th right now with 39 points. And Bologna, who they're playing currently, is sitting at 6th with 33. Now, will this loss automatically doom Roma to drop out? No, but they have to gain some kind of momentum. It's a requirement. So Roma's going to be a team to watch going forward. You have Cagliari at 7th with 32. Milan is going to be at 9th with 32. I only bring up Milan because they're going to be playing Inter this weekend. That's going to be a huge game. Meanwhile, the other games, again, you have Napoli versus Lecce. Lecce can hang some points up. Hey, look, man, they can hang some goals. It's not a big deal, but Napoli needs something. They need as many bright spots in the season as they can get. But Inter and AC Milan, that's going to be Sunday, 2:45. That is my must-watch game of the week. Without question, it's going to be on ESPN+. Whether you watch it live or on demand later, it is the game to watch. So you're gonna see a lot in this game that will, one, decide the fate of Pioli for AC Milan, and then you will see a lot of intrigue on Inter. You brought in Christian Eriksen. How does he fit in? How is he going to help Inter try to maintain that second spot and try to keep ground with Juve? Because I don't think they're trying to even overtake Juve at this point. It's more of just, can they keep pace? Because Juve is dialing up Verona at 2:45 on Saturday, and that should be an easy W for them. So we'll see. Meanwhile, Lazio and Parma, that could be a tricky outing for Lazio. It's going to be one that you want to keep an eye on, especially if you're putting any sort of juice boxes out there. I'd be kind of careful about the Parma-Lazio game. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Got a weird vibe about it. Going over to La Liga, you have Real Madrid. They're just rolling. In La Liga, they're rolling. You have them at the top of it with 49 points. Barcelona, 3 points behind at 46. A little bit of inconsistency there. A lot of drama going on behind the scenes with Barcelona. It's something that they're not really used to dealing with. And I get it. Real Madrid and Barcelona both crashed out of Copa del Rey. Yeah, that stinks. But you have issues right now where Messi, the golden boy, you have a lot of drama right now with regards of Messi's character being called into question by an individual in the front office, and now some questions are coming up as to whether or not Messi's going to leave. Now, look, I get it. It's fun news to talk about how Messi may want to leave. I don't think he's leaving Barcelona. He's the golden boy. You will see every single member of that front office gone before they move Messi, okay, or before they let Messi walk out the door. Messi's not coming to MLS. I highly doubt he's going to be going anywhere else except Newell's Old Boys, and that would be for a show, like a few games tops. But outside of that, he's Barcelona through and through, which is the blessing and the curse of Barcelona and being the best player on the planet right now, is the fact that even though Messi is far closer to the end of his career than he is at any other point, he's not in the middle. We don't have a ton more years of Messi shocking us with his absurd skill. What we do have is just maybe a year, two tops of Messi continuing what we've seen, one of the greatest careers of all time, if not the. So Barcelona needs to figure out what's going on. If Abadal's up there talking trash, bringing in Messi's, calling into question Messi's character, I get it. I understand. You've had management issues. You've had leadership issues. But it doesn't change the fact that there's a systemic issue of youth development at Barcelona now, which has not existed in the past. You are not promoting a lot of youth players anymore. You're still trying to buy top-tier players. You have a ton of talent stashed on your bench that it's just languishing. So what's the one bright spot? Who keeps saving you as your defense has been a wreck and you've had management shifts? Messi. He's been the one consistent. So if the one constant, but it's just shocking to me that people are honestly kicking around. Well, maybe Messi goes to Man City. Messi ain't going to Man City. Come on. It's fun stuff to chat about. It's not happening, though. It's Barcelona through and through. He is bigger than the club. He is breaking their own slogan. He's bigger than the club. It is what it is. So you don't have to like it, but it's the truth. So take it for what it is. But I don't see Barcelona finding a way to really eke out any sort of path to the top of the table with this kind of absurdity taking place in the background. This is some weird Italian drama. I'm shocked this is taking place at Barcelona. for a club that seemed to have their act together for so long, had really the greatest run of any club probably ever. I don't like that word ever, but can anybody really argue that Barcelona had the greatest club run in history? Let me know. At Nicolifi, ALIFFI, also at SOC over there, SOC over there. Hit me up on either one. Let me know. What do you think? Do you think Barcelona had the greatest run ever? And if not, who? And you can talk. I'm willing to entertain whatever. You want to talk Sir Alex Ferguson? We can talk whoever. I don't care. Bring it on. It's just sad to see them fall off from where they were. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you guys listening. If you are making some spaghetti this weekend, do not put sugar in your sauce. Do not buy jarred sauce with sugar in it. I get it. Everybody doesn't have a ton of time to hand make your sauce from scratch. I get it. But if you buy sauce, check the back. Check the ingredient list. You'd be shocked at how many sauces have sugar in them. That is an affront to humanity, and it needs to be stopped in its tracks. And I'm counting on you all to stop putting sugar in sauces, okay? If you want a great marinara recipe, hit me up. Happy to provide that too. Until next time, mucha euro, y'all. Jason, flip it. Crumpet.
Let's take a peek at what's going on in England. Taking the information from Nicolifi. It's kind of weird the next couple of weeks because you have the winter break, and so it's a split schedule in the Premier League. It's a bit odd, and so let's kind of navigate through it through the juice boxes as best we can. Looking at Saturday, it is Everton and Crystal Palace. Right now, Everton ahead in the standings by a handful of points. Right now, they are at minus 163 as you're looking at the table. And right now, Everton ninth at -6. They're only 2 points behind Wolves and Manchester United. Crystal Palace kind of floundering. They haven't won in their last 6. They have lost their last 2. They're at 30 points right now, hanging out in 14th. So, obviously, juice boxes are looking at Everton to get the win to continue advance up the table. Then you've got an interesting one with Brighton and Watford as the late one on your Saturday. Right now, Brighton is a part of that gaggle that's in the relegation fight. They're at the top of it. Watford's at the bottom. Brighton at 26 points. You really don't know which Brighton team you're going to get these days because it has been in their last 5 draw, loss, draw, loss, draw. And with Watford, they have not won their last 3 after winning their first 3 with Nigel Pearson after the replacement down there on the touchline. Watford right now at 23 points. They're in the middle of the relegation zone. 1 point, though, behind West Ham. Brighton is at 26 points, but they're only 2 points clear. There's a bit of a safe zone when it comes to goal difference at present. Brighton is at -7. Everybody else is in double digits. But right now, as you're looking at it from the juice box perspective, Brighton is at +110. Watford to win is at +250. On Sunday, it starts off with Sheffield United and Bournemouth. And frankly, if you take Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool's season out of the loop here, my vote for manager of the year would be Chris Wilder at Sheffield United. Right now they're in 6th place, 9-9-7, and their last 6, it's been 2 wins, a draw, and 3 losses, but 9-9-7, tremendous start with them through match week 25, and they are right on the edge of both the Europa, and if things fall their way, they could be in Champions League, but right now 1 point out of a Europa League spot. Couldn't have asked for a more dream season if you're a fan of the Blades. And you look at Bournemouth right now, after having a horrific run of form to drop them to the bottom of the table. They're a part of that relegation fight. They're in 16th, -13 in goal difference, but they have won their last 2 to get out of the relegation zone. So you're looking at how things are going to lay out, and Sheffield United is at -143. Bournemouth is at +450, so a lot of folks are leaning toward Chris Wilder to get another 3 points to get them closer. And if things were to fall their way, they'd be only a handful of points out of that 4th spot. They'd be flip-flopping with Spurs. So it's food for thought for Spurs to think about. The other action on Sunday, the late game, Manchester City, West Ham. Yeah, both ends of the table here. Raheem Sterling has been the biggest news out of the Manchester City. It looks like he might be on the shelf for a couple of weeks, according to Pep Guardiola. But right now, Manchester City minus 1,000 to win. West Ham is at plus 2,000 to give you an idea as to where things are with West Ham. West Ham, top of the relegation zone, a point from safety. They have lost 3 of their last 5, 2 points in their last 5. They're at 24 points at 6, 6, and 13 in 18th place. Manchester City, 51 points. You're 16, 3, and 6. Tremendous season under normal circumstances, but 22 points behind Liverpool. So it's Liverpool and everybody else. Manchester City, obviously the prohibitive favorite in that particular match. So let's take a peek at League One and see what's going on, in the Championship, and let you know what's going on there. It is after the Bristol City Birmingham match on Friday. You're looking at a lot of draws across the board. Brentford is a minus 200 going up against Middlesbrough. And really the other favorites are slight. Swansea at minus 106 going up against Derby County, and Nottingham Forest and Leeds. Leeds, they are in a tough run of form. If they're going to be a part of the promotion fight, they've got to get some results here, but they are minus 110 going up against Nottingham Forest. The one match on Sunday, Millwall and West Brom, everybody's looking at a draw there as well. Let's take a peek at League One, let you know what's going on there. And you're looking at mostly slight favorites and wins. Fleetwood Town's a plus 110 going up against AFC Wimbledon, who's a plus 260. Blackpool's at a minus 163. Coventry, heavy favorite against Bolton Wanderers. Everybody is this season. Coventry's at a minus 250. Doncaster Rovers at a minus 167 against Rochdale. Then you have a couple of draws on the board. Then Portsmouth a minus 154 against Tranmere. And Wycombe Wanderers a minus 110. Against Bristol Rovers. So that is your look. It's a bit of an odd week, as we said in the Prem, so we'll keep an eye on what's going on. Sergio Aguero won his record 7th EA Sports Player of the Month for his work, and Johan Bach's goal was voted the goal of the month for what he did for Brighton in the New Year's Day draw against Chelsea. Some of the news in notes there as well. So that's what we're going to be taking a peek at as we head into the first half of Match Week 26.
Welcome into the South American portion of Crumpets and Espresso, and mate might work its way into the title one of these days. Probably not, because sometimes it's other things, but it's mate tonight, and you're getting the show just a little bit later than usual because there was a very important match tonight in South America. It was in Paraguay, and it was the debut of Tito Villalba in Paraguayan football with Libertad. He came off the bench as a second-half sub. His team was trailing 1-0 late in the second half. They turn it around with a goal very late, last 5 minutes of regulation, and then a penalty deep in stoppage time, and Libertad wins 2-1 in Tito Villalba's debut. He did pick up a yellow card just to add to the festivities. There are reports out of Paraguay this week, and Deportes Uno, which is on 6:50 a.m. in Asunción, has gone with this, saying that it is 100% of the pass that Libertad bought from Atlanta United, and it was $4 million, which is a record acquisition for Paraguayan football. Ivan Alexis is the one who is reporting this out of 6:50 a.m. Deportes Uno in Paraguay. We've talked about it a couple times this week. I don't know why this is the case, but when Miguel Almiron came from Lanús in Argentina to Atlanta United, the transfer reports on the South American side of the media were $2-3 million higher than they were on the American side of the media. It's that way again here. Paul Tenorio said he's heard this is between $1.5 and $2 million. Don't know. It does matter for Atlanta United in terms of can they convert some of this transfer fee into GAM. It's going to depend on how high it is. It's going to depend on how much is taken off the top to reimburse Atlanta United for their initial acquisition of Villalba from San Lorenzo, salary being reimbursed, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know if we'll ever truly get an answer to it, but that was a follow-up report from Roberto Rojas's report that it was $4 million. Deportes Uno, 6:50 a.m. in Asunción, is backing that report up. The Argentine League is winding down in the Superliga season. It's a 23-match season, and we're getting down to the nitty-gritty in the Superliga. It is week 19, and it kind of started off with a bit of a bang as Central Cordoba, who's playing their first season in the Superliga in a while, went on the road to Aldosivi and won 2-0. Now, the reason we're talking about two teams that are towards the bottom of the table, Central Cordoba with this win temporarily moves into 17th, Aldosivi is in 21st, is you have to look over at the Promedios table. And right now, Aldosivi is in the final relegation spot. They are hundredths of a point, 300ths of a point to be exact, behind Colón. This loss is a very bad one for them because they do not have 3 years of numbers to average out in the Promedios table, the relegation table. They only have 2, so every loss is even more impactful. Flip side is important when it comes to Central Cordoba. They only have 1. So the win had a huge impact on their average points per game, and they're now at 1.263 in 17th in the table. Spots 22, 23, and 24 get relegated. Gimnasia, Diego Maradona's Gimnasia, is at the bottom of the table. It has been a bad season for them before Diego showed up. He actually has them now in 19th out of 24 in the overall table this season, but they're at the bottom of the Promedios table, and they've got a ways to go to climb out of that. They've got to make up 8 points on Colón, who's played the same number of matches 3 years in the league. They got to make up 8 points to pull even with Colón. That's not going to be easy with just a handful of games left in the table in the Superliga. They have 5 games left there, and in 11 games in the Copa de la Superliga. So, Gimnasia this weekend, they are at home to Patronato tomorrow afternoon. That is a must win for Gimnasia. Patronato is in 23rd in the table, only 3 wins out of 18 matches played. Now, Patronato is the team in the relegation table in the Promedios that is between Aldosivi and Gimnasia. They are 2 points ahead of Gimnasia over the last 3 years. They have 74 points out of 70 matches. Gimnasia has 72. It's a must-win game either way, but Gimnasia being at home, they have to get 3 points here. All right, let's look at the top of the table because that's what most people care about. You have Lanús playing right now as we record. It's in second half. They are on the road at Argentinos. Lanús is in 3rd. Argentinos is in 4th. And right now it's a scoreless draw early in the second half. You might hear me start yelling or reacting to something. That would be because there's a goal in the game that is in front of me. Lanús, 33 points if this result holds. Argentinos would be on 32 points if this result holds. Boca Juniors is in second place on 33 points. This weekend, they play on Saturday night. They get the late match Saturday night. They are hosting Atlético Tucumán, who is in 11th in the table. That should be 3 points for Boca. Now, they need River to drop points. River Plate does have to go on the road, but they're going on the road to Unión in the late match on Sunday. Unión is in 18th in the table this season, 6 wins out of 18. That's a winnable game on the road, but Boca needs to win Saturday night. Lanús and Argentinos are battling to try to find 3 points here to put more pressure on River. With the schedule winding down, these teams behind River chasing cannot slip up. Now, remember this Copa de la Superliga because it does affect Copa Libertadores spots. It does affect Copa Sudamericana spots because those numbers are added in to your league results, and you kind of get a combined table because welcome to Argentina being crazy. River right now, if they win the Superliga, they would automatically go into the group phase of the Copa Libertadores in 2021. Boca, Lanús, and Argentinos are in the Copa Libertadores spots right now. Now, this can change over the course of the Copa de la Superliga. Vélez, Arsenal, Newell's, Rosario Central, Estudiantes, and Racing are in the Sudamericana spots. Remember, the Superliga matches will affect it because Tucumán is 1 point out of a Superliga spot. Vélez in 5th is 2 points out of a Copa Libertadores spot. That spot for 10, the final spot in the Sudamericana, Tucumán and San Lorenzo are 1 point back. Independiente and Defensa y Justicia are 3 points back. Defensa, our boys, are on quite a run after naming Hernan Crespo as their new manager. Pretty exciting times for Defensa. They host Colón in the weekend's match on Saturday. Colón has struggled this season. They got to the Copa Sudamericana final, which was a shock, but league form has been very poor, 5-12-1 on the year. That's your Argentine update. Let's take a look at some of the other leagues in this hemisphere right about now.
Chilaquiles.
Let's move over to Mexico right now. León and Querétaro are leading the table 9 points out of 4 matches played. It is week 5 of the Clausura season. Right now, León, Querétaro are 9. Necaxa y Pumas are on 8. Juárez, as a big surprise, and Club America are on 7. Chivas and Atlético San Luis are on 6. Goal differential keeps San Luis in the final Liguilla, the playoff spot, over Atlas. Atlas lost earlier tonight. Morelia got the 3-1 win, and it keeps Atlas in that number 9 spot as they want to get into the playoffs. You'll notice we did not mention a few teams that you're used to hearing in Liguilla spots, one of them being the defending champions, Monterrey. Well, Monterrey's in the bottom spot in the table. No wins out of 4, 2 draws. They're on 2 points. Another team that we are used to hearing in these types of spots, Tigres. Tigres is in 13th. They have 4 points, 1 win, 1 draw, 2 losses. They've only scored 2 goals so far in the Clausura. León's been the big surprise. There was a lot of thought with Macias heading back to Chivas after his loan that they would struggle to find goals. Well, that just has not been the case. They've scored 10 in 4 matches, and it is the Ecuadorian veteran on the wing, Angel Mena, with 5 of them so far. 5 goals in 4 matches. Mena plays on the right wing. He is a player who came over to León last year from Cruz Azul, and before that had spent his whole career in Ecuador, most prominently with Emelec. So this is a sign of the talent that you can go find if you look hard enough. And Cruz Azul went and found him in 2017. Reportedly, the transfer fee was $3 million. He moved from Cruz Azul to León on a free at the beginning of 2019, ahead of the 2019 Clausura. And right now, he is your Golden Boot leader in Liga MX in the Clausura, 4 goals out of 3. We'll see if León can continue this. They host Monterrey on Saturday night. That'll be an intriguing one with the top spot and the bottom spot facing off. Tigres hosts Chivas, which will be a fun one on Saturday night. And a team that a lot of people here in Atlanta are following these days, Tijuana, Xolos, they are in 16th out of 18 in the table. It's been a very slow start for them. They're not finding any goals. 3 goals in 4 matches. They have only conceded 6 in 4 matches, which normally you would think would find you some more points, but 1 win, 1 draw, 2 losses so far. Not a great start for Tijuana. They play late tonight against Toluca, and that will be at the Estadio Caliente in Tijuana. We'll see if Xolos and Leandro Gonzalez Perez can start to climb up the table. I expect to see Los Rayados start to climb up the table. Expect to see Tigres start to climb up the table, which could get really interesting for clubs like San Luis, for Juarez, for Querétaro, clubs you're not as used to seeing in these types of spots in the table. León is one that we've gotten accustomed to seeing there. They're preparing for a huge CONCACAF Champions League series with LAFC that'll be starting here in just a couple of weeks. It's getting real, y'all. If you're an Atlanta United fan, if you're an MLS fan, league is about to get started. We're only a few weeks away, and for the teams that have qualified for the CONCACAF Champions League, those matches are very, very soon with teams like Atlanta, like Seattle, like LAFC, like Montreal, like New York City FC, who's going to be hosting their second leg against San Carlos of Costa Rica. Going to be hosting that over at Red Bull Arena, which is bonkers. Let's take a look real quick at the teams that the MLS teams will be facing in CONCACAF.
Classic smorgasbord.
Okay, we're not going to Scandinavia for a smorgasbord. We're bringing the smorgasbord to CONCACAF because this is your look at how the teams MLS squads will be facing are doing so far in their seasons, which are all underway, all at varying levels of completion. We've mentioned León. They're at the top of the Clausura table in Mexico. They play tomorrow night hosting Monterrey. They go to San Luis, who's in a playoff spot, on Friday, February 14th. And that is the prep ahead of LAFC going to Club León Tuesday, February 18th. It'll be the same time as Atlanta United faces Motagua at 10 p.m. Might have to have two TVs set up for this one because that's a huge match for LAFC, their first international match, and it is right now against the top team in Mexico. Not exactly what they were hoping to draw. Okay, let's go down to Costa Rica. Montreal Impact had one of the unluckier nights during the CONCACAF Champions League draw. They got Saprissa. Nobody wants Saprissa. Saprissa is doing typical Saprissa kind of things right now in Costa Rica. 7 weeks into the Clausura, they're on top of the table. 5 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, 16 points. They've only conceded 5 goals. They're not scoring a ton. They've only scored 9. But that defense is keeping them in a top spot right now. However, things get real for the Purple Dragon of Saprissa. They host Alajuelense in the Costa Rican Clásico Sunday at 5:30. If you can find a stream, I highly recommend taking some time out to watch that one. That's match day 8 in the Clausura. Match day 9 is midweek, and February 12th, Saprissa will be on the road to Jicaral, who's been one of the surprise packages in the Costa Rican Primera División this season. They're in 3rd place. On Sunday, February 16th, doesn't get any easier. Saprissa's got to go on the road to Grecia. So 2 road matches ahead of the first leg with Montreal, which will be in Costa Rica. They do play UCR, which is the Universidad de Costa Rica. This is a team that is in 11th place. They've only won once so far this season. That's in between the first and second legs of the Montreal series. So would not be surprised to see Saprissa try to rest players against Grecia on the 16th and definitely rest players in between the Montreal legs, because for Saprissa, going to Montreal, that's not going to be an easy trip for them at all. The other Costa Rican team in the draw is San Carlos. San Carlos not having the greatest of seasons right now. They are 3 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw. They're on 7 points. They're in 7th place in the table. It's not great for San Carlos at the moment, and you look at their schedule coming up, it's a busy one. They go to Cartagenes on the 9th. They host Universidad on the 12th, and they go to Herediano on the 16th. That's all before first leg, where they host NYCFC on Thursday, February 20th. After that game on Thursday the 20th, it's a really quick turn for San Carlos. They host Grecia on Sunday the 23rd in the afternoon before going to New York to play on the 26th. That's a really difficult turn for San Carlos, and they're going to have to make some tough decisions because this isn't a very deep squad. Where they're at in the table right now, they're on the outside looking in the playoff picture in Costa Rica. Are they going to be able to rest players in that match against Grecia in between the two legs? I don't know. And if they don't win and they don't win handily in the first leg, I don't know what they really send or how prepared they look when they go to Red Bull Arena to face New York City, which is crazy in and of itself. Okay, let's go over to Honduras. Olympia is the team that will be facing the MLS Cup champion Seattle Sounders. Olympia won the Honduran League in the Apertura. Now, in the Clausura, not quite the same so far. They're in 5th place out of 10. They've played 5 matches. They have won 2. They've lost 2. They have drawn 1. Pretty even. They're not scoring a ton of goals. They're not giving up a bunch. They've only given up 6 goals in 5 matches, but they've only scored 7. And they're coming off of a loss into this weekend's action. That loss was at home, in a home match anyway, to Motagua. Now, this weekend, on the 9th, they go to Real Sociedad. Then on Wednesday the 12th, because they have a midweek match as well the week before CONCACAF starts, they host Honduras Progreso. And then on the 15th, they go to Vida before hosting Seattle on Thursday the 20th. Now, in between the legs of the Seattle series, they host Marathon. Marathon's in 2nd place in the table right now. Marathon has not lost so far. 2 wins, 3 draws. They've only conceded 4 goals. That's a really tough in-between match for Olympia. Now, Motagua, that's who Atlanta United will be facing. They finished 3rd in the Apertura. In the Clausura, currently, they're in 1st. 10 points out of 5 matches. 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. They've only conceded 5 goals. Very good defense. They're almost averaging 2 goals a match, too. So they're finding goals to go along with this. Now, their schedule coming in this weekend on the 9th, they host Honduras Progreso, who's the 8th place team in the table. In the midweek, Motagua has a tricky match on the road against the team. It's in 9th place. They have not won yet. They've drawn 4 of their 5. They've only lost 1, and they're playing a team that has one of the longest names I've ever seen for a club. They do go by Lobos, but their official name is Lobos de la Universidad Pedagógica Nacional Francisco Morazán. We're going to call them Lobos. Or they are known as UPN-FM. Sounds like a strange radio station. But that's who Motagua plays in the midweek before they see Atlanta United. That's on Wednesday the 12th. And then on Saturday the 15th in the evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Time match, Motagua hosts Real España, who is in 4th place in the table. Only 1 point back. The top of the Honduran table is very tight, with Motagua on 10, Marathon, Vida, and Real España all on 9. So they've got a tough match right before. They've got a midweek match before they face Atlanta United. Now, Atlanta on Tuesday the 11th is going to Guadalajara to face Leones Negros. And part of the idea is to get into a rhythm of travel and playing matches a week before you're going to play your first match of the season. So we'll see how that helps Atlanta. We'll see how the midweek match for Motagua, who is 5 weeks in already, 5 matches in already, in the Clausura season. We'll see how they handle that. In between the 2 legs for Motagua, they do play Real de Minas. Real de Minas is a team that is in 7th place, 2 wins out of 5. That match is on the 22nd, ahead of Motagua coming up to Kennesaw to face Atlanta United on February 25th. That's your CONCACAF update. We'll keep throwing those into some Crumpets and Espresso. We'll talk about it during Soccer Over There as well as we get close, because this is a year where, look, we've seen a lot of top talent from Mexico come to MLS, and I'm starting to see in the Mexican media the defense mechanism starting to kick in a little bit. There was a Twitter thread from Medio Tiempo about, let's have the reality of what MLS is. And there was some praise for different things that MLS has done. And let's have the reality of what they aren't. And they basically said they're not competitive yet because they haven't won CONCA Champions. Well, that's gotta happen here at some point. And it's been made a priority by MLS. You have 5 teams in it this time around in the round of 16. Montreal, I don't think anybody's expecting to really trouble for the title. But can they pull an upset on Saprissa? Because I do think it'd be an upset. Can they pull that off? We'll see. I have no idea what Montreal is going to be this year. Seattle's the defending champs. Now they're playing the defending Honduran champs in Olympia, who I was worried about coming in, but they haven't started so great. Maybe they're a little distracted. Maybe they're looking forward to CONCACAF. Not sure, since they've already got a title in the league season when you look at the Apertura and the Clausura. Motagua, very proud team in this competition. They're going to take it very, very seriously. Atlanta is expected to take care of business against a team like Motagua. NYC and LA, we don't really know. They're favorites. At least NYC is clearly over San Carlos. LAFC and Leon is probably the matchup that CONCACAF wanted out of this round, because you have the Supporter Shield winners out of MLS facing the super leader out of the last Mexican season. Right now, they're the super leader again. They got bounced in the quarterfinals in the Liguilla, but regular season, you've got the best team in MLS and the best team in Mexico from the most recent season facing off. Bit of a toss-up. I think LAFC is the stronger team, and that's probably going to upset some people, and I might get added a couple times by that. But I think on paper, LAFC is a stronger team. The question is, are they going to be in any kind of a rhythm? They recently drew with Dallas in a closed-door friendly. We'll see. I do like what Frank de Boer, Carlos Bocanegra, Darren Eales have done with Atlanta United's preseason. I like that they played a Swedish team in Elfsborg, because it's not a behind closed doors friendly. It's, against a fellow MLS team. It's behind closed doors, but it's against a team from another country. They're trying to prove themselves. That game was a little physical. It had a little chippiness to it. That's what's going to prepare you for these games. Then you go on the road to Birmingham, so you travel. It's short travel, but it's still travel. And you're playing a team that, again, has something to prove. It's not going to feel like just a friendly. Then you have this trip to play a second division team in Mexico and Leones Negros. The game's important, and Leones Negros is a club that has been in Liga MX in recent years, but it's a club that Atlanta should be able to handle and build some confidence against, but they have to go through travel and international travel, and that should help them. We'll see if going into the second time around in CONCACAF, that schedule that is different this year than it was last year, if that helps Atlanta prepare and be ready to go in that first game where they struggled against Herediano last year. Can they get a better result against Motagua? It's not going to be easy in San Pedro Sula, but Atlanta United's a team with that kind of expectation. LAFC just looking to survive. Whatever it takes to get through Leon, they just want to get through. And if they can pull that off, that would be a huge accomplishment. There's no more excuses for MLS and CONCACAF champions anymore. No excuses. The Mexican teams are very good, but at some point, you've got to take care of business. And these are teams that are in this competition this time around that you would want in this competition this time around. Seattle, big club. New York City, big club. LAFC, big club. Atlanta, big club. Montreal, they're the Canadian champions. They got in. Good for them. They're going to have fun with Saprissa. We'll see how that goes. The 4 U.S. teams, big clubs. They have big expectations. And they have to take care of business starting very soon in CONCACAF Champions League. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait for that to get started. We are getting very, very close, just a little over a week away from Game 1 for Atlanta United and CONCACAF. Game 1 for LAFC and CONCACAF. Tuesday the 18th. It's going to be a lot of fun. Fox has the rights. These games are going to be on FS1, FS2. I guess some could be on Fox Soccer Plus. They're also going to be on the 2Day NA family of networks. So you will be able to watch these in English or Spanish. For Atlanta United matches, we will have them on radio on 92.9 The Game, starting with that match from Honduras against Motagua on the 18th. We've got a couple of soccer over theirs before we get there. We've got one more Crumpets and Espresso before we get there. So we will get you ready for CONCACAF. We will keep you posted on the Lionel Messi saga in Spain. We will keep you posted on Gio Reyna, who's turning heads for Borussia Dortmund in Germany. Is he going to have another wonder goal here soon? I'm sure Twitter will break itself when that happens. And if you missed it, speaking of Germany real quick, Serginho Dest reportedly will be getting another offer from Bayern Munich. First offer in this last window was not good enough. We'll see if Bayern Munich ups that number in the summer window, and maybe Dest, U.S. outside back, could be headed to the Bundesliga. All kinds of stuff to talk about on Monday. Come out and join us at the Brewhouse Cafe. We'll be watching some Argentine Superliga action live. We'll be having wonderful beverages and food. And we'll be watching one of the 9,475 televisions at the Brewhouse Cafe. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Crumpet Espresso.